What about this here? These ones, I'm going to start from up there. Oh, hello everyone. The weather's changed a bit today, so we're just doing a little bit of homeschooling with Midge. And but do you want to go and have a little break now? Go on. And I must say that for a 9-month-old Springer, his reading's coming along really well. I've been quite impressed. Anyway, while we take a little break from that, I've put together a few clips again this time, and mostly again taken with the phone, just during our walks in the local fields and in the woods. So I thought it might just be worth putting it out, particularly for anyone who's stuck indoors and can't get out and about. Maybe it's just nice to see a little bit of countryside. So well, let's see how it goes, and whether you find it interesting. If you do, let me know. If not, we'll perhaps try to come up with something more interesting. Oh, back to school, is it? Suddenly taking an interest. Anyway, let's crack on with this, shall we? See you in a minute. Okay, first of all then, we've got a few pictures of things that I've just spotted on my walks, and starting with flowers and blossoms in the hedgerows. Just a lovely sign of the springtime, and I thought it was worth putting some pictures in. They're just nice to see, aren't they? Something else I see along one of my walks is the World War II so-called pillboxes, defensive positions, and they were there to defend the former RAF Wellingborough during the Second World War, and that's an airfield, or a disused airfield, that I'd like in the future to make a proper video about, because it's quite an interesting place. Going on now to something that I don't like seeing on my walks, and unfortunately I see far too much of these things everywhere you go, and they are basically the remains of those sort of foil finished plastic greetings balloons, the sort of thing that you find with sort of get well soon, happy birthday, happy anniversary, that sort of thing. And I suspect it's the ones that are filled with helium that are the problem. People enjoy having the balloon, and then they think when the occasion is past, they'll set it free and watch it fly off into a nice blue sky. And that's lovely, I'm sure, except that these things have to come down somewhere. And our hedgerows and woodlands and fields have thousands of these things just littering around the place. Of course, it's very unlikely that anyone's going to pick them up. And I'm sure the people who let them go wouldn't have walked out and thrown a carrier bag or something similar into a hedgerow. But what they're doing is effectively the same, and they do make a terrible mess. The next clip I'm going to show is it's a little bit Blair Witch Project, it seems. Um, Walking with Midge in the woods and heard the barking of a muntjac deer. And it sounds quite a lot like a dog at first, until you get to recognise it. And so I thought I'd go and investigate and see what we could find. Now, deer stalking is tricky enough if you're on your own, but if you're trying to stalk deer whilst attached by a lead to a manic Springer Spaniel, and you're also trying to film the events on your phone, um, that turns into a bit of a farce, to be honest. So lots of heavy breathing because I'm quite close to the phone and stepping on every twig that's on the path. You might just, if you look really carefully, you might catch the odd glimpse of the deer that I was creeping up on. And it turned out that it was, in fact, a mother muntjac, a doe, who was calling to her kid, as young muntjac are called. And I did see them together, though I didn't think I managed to film that as such. But it was quite a bit of fun, so I've included that. The next clip is just a really pretty favourite part of the wood for me. The sun was shining, dappling down through the trees. I just thought it looked lovely. So I did a sort of slow panorama around the woodland scene. And again, the eagle-eyed among you will probably pick out towards the end of the panorama, as I crossed the track which I was standing on, that a stoat jumps out and runs across the track from right to left and disappears into the undergrowth. And that was nice to see. I've seen a stoat in that same area 2 or 3 times over the last couple of months, and it was in full white ermine livery, um, which is quite sad really because there was never any snow in there. So the poor little blighter had entirely the wrong camouflage on. A bright white flash in an otherwise brown and green woodland. So I probably wouldn't have seen him if it hadn't been in white. But good luck to him. He's now back in his proper outfit for the summer. Now, earlier I mentioned the Blair Witch Project. Things really got weird on one of my walks in the field where I sometimes walk Midge. Um, the next field has some chicken sheds in it for free range chickens. And I was a little bit baffled to see a massive chicken shed apparently making its own way across the field. Um, it was one of those moments when you stop and think, have I been drinking something this morning? What's going on? It was a bit of a baffler. Um, and I think you'll see from the scarring on the grass field that that shed had done quite a bit of travelling um, in the previous hour or two, because that grass was pristine last time I saw it. That shed's obviously done the rounds. In fact, when the farmer mentioned to me that he was going to put in some more free range chicken sheds, I assumed it was the chickens that were going to be free range, not the sheds. However, every day's a school day. And just to finish off, a little tribute to our NHS workers, and obviously that's special to me because both of my daughters are nurses. Um, my eldest is a mental health nurse, and she was working in a community role with young people, but because of the crisis, she was redeployed to a ward in hospital, and she's dealing on a daily basis with sufferers from COVID-19. So obviously I worry about her. And if that's not bad enough, my younger daughter, who is a general nurse, she was working on a cardiac ward, and with the current crisis and the shortage in staff and the greater requirement for people to work in intensive care, she actually volunteered to become an ICU nurse, and foregoing the usual 6 weeks training. It was hands-on training for her, and she was very quickly looking after patients in intensive care on a one-to-one basis. And they're both just dedicated. They're both putting themselves at great personal risk, which is a worry to me. It does, however, make me extremely proud. And they are just two among vast numbers of healthcare workers who are putting themselves at risk, and my heart goes out to them all. And what can we do? Well, how can we show our appreciation? We all go out on a Thursday evening and applaud, and I just hope they realise how heartfelt it is. Anyway, that rounds up those few clips. I hope they were of some interest. I know it's very limited in its content, and Midge and I can't wait to be fully free to make our videos of our little adventures again properly. I suppose we could do that now. There's no one really around, but I think it perhaps gives the wrong message if I'm seen to be out there, not necessarily just exercising, but indulging in my hobby with my camera. So I'm keeping it pretty informal and low level, just getting the odd shot with my phone when I can. So I hope everyone's keeping well, and thank you for watching. I hope to see you again very soon. Thanks then, and goodbye for now.